With every statement, with every new videotape, Osama bin Laden comes closer to admitting responsibility for September the 11th. Are you comfortable that with the evidence so far, the United States, under international law, has the right to defend itself against Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden?
In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. First of all, I would like to again express my deepest condolences to the nation of America and express my sorrow for the tragic event of September 11. What occurred was a disaster. Terror and terrorization is not a new phenomenon, but regretfully, what has saddened us more is that the machine of war and terror did not stop in the year 2001, which was designated as the year for the dialogue among civilizations. The September 11 attack was the ugliest form of terrorism ever seen. I expressed my deepest sorrow to the people of America right after the tragedy, and I'd like to say how sorry I am and express my sorrow. I also like to say that the Americans were not the only ones who suffered. Just today we had a ceremony where the flags of all nationalities present in that who were victims of the terrorist attack was raised. As you know, there were Iranians among them as well. Therefore, that was a tragedy and a terrible one, and terrorism in general is. What matters is that we must confront this phenomenon. We have to do it in a determined manner. We have to address the root causes of terrorism. We have to find the perpetrators and bring them to justice, and we must fight terrorist bases wherever they are. But again, we have to address the roots as well. We have expressed that we are unhappy with what has happened in Afghanistan, both in the past and present. We have condemned extremism in any form, and we believe that terrorism in any form is also unacceptable. The question of who was behind the attack, I'm sure, must be supported by evidence, and there probably is some evidence out there, although we haven't received it ourselves or seen it ourselves. But it seems from various developments that the groups and individuals named may have perhaps been involved in it. What matters is that we must identify matters very clearly. We must not act too quickly, and we must also fight terrorist bases, and hopefully we must move in a direction so that in the future no nationality and no country will face such tragic events again.
International officials, US officials, have said that the Iranian delegation is being very constructive in the current 6+2 talks on the future of Afghanistan. What do you see for the future of Afghanistan? Would Zahir Shah have any interim role? Would any Taliban defectors have any role in a future government of Afghanistan?
As has been indicated, we are very active in this area, because we cannot sit silent when there is a country that is unstable in our neighborhood. Rather than talking about groups and people, I prefer that we talk about mechanisms that are available to us that can lead to peace and stability and a moderate government in Afghanistan. What we have in mind is that we must consider two processes for Afghanistan. One is a final one in which all the people of of Afghanistan, Afghan men and women, regardless of their religious or ethnic background, may be able to go to the polls and determine what the future of their country should be. However, it is clear that under the present crisis, this is not possible to attain at this very moment, and therefore we need a transitional period. In a transitional period, naturally, we need an interim government comprising all Afghan groups. Afghan groups that are acceptable to the international community and the people of Afghanistan as well. And it must be supervised by the United Nations, this transitional period, so that Afghanistan can reach a normal state where people can determine their own fate. Clearly, the Pashtuns are a large number in Afghanistan, although one must not say that Pashtuns are equal to Taliban or equal to the process in Rome. We know that Mohammed Zahir is the one representing the Rome process. What matters to us is that the Pashtuns too must be there, must be present, as well as Tajiks, Hajaras, and Uzbeks, and other ethnic groups.
Mr. President, Iran was one of the first countries to send condolences to the United States after September 11th. You yourself and other members of the ruling establishment, the people expressed their sympathy. There is food distribution going to Afghanistan that will come through Iran's port on the Persian Gulf. Iran has said that it will meet its international obligations to assist U.S. pilots should they find themselves in trouble during this situation. This is quite incredible for so-called sworn enemies. In previous interviews this week, you have spoken of what you called some positive steps that were taken by the Clinton administration in talking about its past policy towards Iran. U.S. officials are still not able to understand why Iran won't accept unconditional dialogue. I don't mean relations, I don't mean negotiations, I mean dialogue. What is wrong with unconditional dialogue where you all put your issues on the table?
البته میفهمیم احساس آمریکایی‌ها هم از دولت و ملت آمریکا
feeling of the people of America and the government of America in responding to the tragic attack that occurred on September 11, and it is their right to want to bring the perpetrators to justice and to confront them. And the world also endorses that. But the question is, how do you confront terror and terrorism? Terror and terrorism is a process. When we talk about Al-Qaeda, for example, this is a group that is not just based in Afghanistan. It exists in other places as well, as do other terrorist groups. If we act quickly or in a one-sided manner, we might be able to fight terrorism in one case or two, but we might end up activating other terrorist processes. As far as relations are concerned, I've said that there is a great deal of mistrust in practice. Regretfully, we haven't seen any serious steps taken to improve this situation, although in the last administration some positive things were done. Officially, the U.S. administration said that it had made some mistakes towards Iran. It did not apologize officially, but it did at least clearly state that it had made a mistake. And if that had been followed by some practical steps, it would have had some positive results. But unfortunately, accusations still continue, threats still continue, unbased allegations are continue. And I want to say that although we are victims of terrorism ourselves, we're said to be alleged terrorists. or at least we're on the list of terrorist groups. And I want to say that there are many terrorist groups present in the West and other countries that are actually being supported. So there's a double standard. We have, as you know, a history of pessimism when it comes to our relations with the United Nations, with the United States. So although there have been some positive developments, we need practical steps. So in addition to rhetoric, we need to get rid of the unacceptable behavior that still continues, in my opinion, towards Iran.